The household table, fellowship, bread, prayer, and care. As the day faded and the last light slipped behind the western ridges, the life of the Jerusalem assembly gathered itself around the household table. These tables were not mere places to eat. They were altars of fellowship, hearths of covenant, gates of mercy, and lamps of the kingdom. The assembly did not gather as crowds seeking a spectacle, nor as strangers sharing space. They gathered as a family joined by the name of Yeshua, breathing the same breath, walking the same path, carrying one another's burdens as if their lives were bound by a single cord. Bread lay at the center of every table, warm and fragrant, broken by steady hands. This breaking was not casual. It carried memory and promise. Every time a loaf cracked open, the sound echoed the night when Yeshua lifted bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to his disciples with words that cut deep. "This is my body given for you." The households in Jerusalem did not treat these words as distant history. They repeated them in their hearts as they broke bread for their brothers and sisters, remembering the pierced hands that tore the first loaf. Every meal bore the weight of the covenant. Wine or water stood beside the bread poured with thanksgiving. The household lifted cups, blessing Yahweh for his goodness, his mercy, his steadfast covenant, his deliverance through Yeshua, his faithfulness to his promises. When fathers blessed the cup, they remembered the blood of the Lamb, poured out for the household of Israel and the nations. When mothers passed cups to children, they taught them the ancient stories, connecting the sweetness on their tongues to the sweetness of Yahweh's salvation. Tables held more than food. They held lives. As they ate, the people spoke of the day's teaching in the temple, repeating the apostles' words so no one missed a single line. They shared what the Ruach stirred in their hearts. They confessed faults and were restored. They recounted Yahweh's mercies, the healing of a neighbor, the provision of daily bread, the protection from danger, the strengthening of a weary brother. These stories wove hope through every room, binding the assembly together as tightly as cords bind a tent in the wind. Widows received seats of honor. The assembly called them mothers, not out of sentiment, but because Yahweh himself watches over them with special care. Men and women offered them the choicest portions. Children listened to their prayers, soft words flowing like oil over cracked places in the heart. Widows carried decades of faith, their voices steady with the memory of Yahweh's faithfulness. When they prayed, the household bowed low, for the heavens seemed to bend near. Strangers found shelter at these tables. It did not matter if they had traveled from distant lands or came from different tongues. Hospitality in Israel has always been a sign of covenant loyalty. And now, renewed by Yeshua, hospitality became the open door of the kingdom. Travelers found food. Refugees found safety. The lonely found family. Every open table declared that Yahweh's house had many rooms. Poverty did not exist unseen in these houses. If a brother lacked food, the table supplied him. If a widow lacked clothing, garments were brought. If a household lacked firewood, others gathered sticks and carried them gladly. The servants ensured the distribution was fair. The elders ensured no shame fell upon the needy. The apostles ensured Scripture shaped every act. Generosity flowed like water from a spring, quiet, constant, life-giving. Prayer rose from these rooms like incense at the evening offering. Lamps flickered as men lifted hands and women bowed their heads. Some prayed in thanksgiving, others in sorrow. Some prayed for courage, others for healing. And often the Ruach moved among them, comforting the grieving, strengthening the faint-hearted, stirring boldness in the timid, guiding decisions, and bringing peace to conflicted hearts. The breath of Yahweh filled these homes as surely as it filled the upper room on the day of Shavuot. Children sat close, watching everything. They learned the path by touch and sight. By seeing fathers bless bread, mothers speak kindness, elders offer counsel, widows pray with quiet strength. Prophets speak Yahweh's word. Teachers open scripture. No scroll could teach them this life as clearly as these tables did. Faith passed from generation to generation through bread, stories, love, and the steady example of covenant keepers. As night deepened, some households lingered long after the meal ended. A brother might share a psalm, plucking it quietly like a harp with his voice. A sister might recount a story from the prophets. A father might teach his children about Abraham's faith or David's courage. A weary brother might be comforted by the words of another. These evenings did not rush. They breathed. And when the lamps burned low and the city grew quiet, the people of the way stepped out into the cool night air, walking home through narrow streets with hearts full, strengthened for the next day. These tables were the beating heart of the Jerusalem assembly. The temple courts gave them teaching, but the household tables gave them life. Daily, embodied, steadfast. The kingdom advanced not only through sermons and signs, but through bread broken, burdens carried, and lives shared in covenant love. This is how the Jerusalem assembly lived, tables glowing with fire, households strengthened with fellowship, prayers rising like smoke, bread broken in remembrance of the Lamb, and hearts knit together in the name of Yeshua, waiting for the day when they would sit at his table in his kingdom.